Yeah.
I'll do it here.
Break a leg.
I'll do it. Break the leg.
What do you mean by break a leg?
I don't know.
Hello. It's down there. Sorting the fridge out. It's episode 173. It's Chocky Chat. It's Friday night. Hello, Chocky Chat. I'm waiting for Louis. Louis going to join me in a minute. He's going to send me a request. How is everybody doing? Yes, I had a haircut. Where are we? I can see Ruth. I can send some hellos out. Gina, I can see New Zealand. Nettie, how are you? Mrs. So Sassy's joined us. Ruth is there. Hi, Ruth. Gosh, I'm good. Darren's there. Lou will be along in a minute. Don't know if we can work out how all the technology works, because we were chatting about this earlier. It's like, I don't know when it comes to tech. Who else? Vacancy. Moda Baker. Oil Bakes. I'm good. How's the crew tonight? Let me just scroll back a little bit. We've got Tempered Chocolates in Seattle. How are you? I'm really good, thank you. Really, really, really good. Busy week. Busy week. And we're experiencing, I'm well aware we're experiencing some issues with the website and shipping and different bits and pieces going on. So just bear with us. Like if you're stuck and you can't get an order through, just email me or message me the order and we can deal with it offline. We've got some crazy shipping quotes going on at the minute. So we're trying to solve all that at the moment. So there are people behind the scenes trying to do that. So it is all good though. It is all good. Busy week, and I had some amazing chocolates. I got to make chocolates this week. It's always good. Where is Louis? There he is. Yeah, busy week. Love the haircut. Yeah, I know, right? I had my ears lowered. I'm going to send. Why can't... Alright, I found Louis. Here we go. It's quite near. Is the lighting alright?
The haircut.
Yeah, somebody said they like my haircut.
Did you like the haircut? I have done that.
You did. There he is.
How we doing, my friend?
Buddy, how are you?
Good. Happy to
Well, come to
happy
Chocky
to
Chat.
see you.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello.
Nice to meet you here.
It's nice to meet face to face finally, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is the voice you always see off camera, right? So
Hello.
That's
how are
right.
you? How are you?
Wonderful. You hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear everything.
Good. And I hope the rest can hear as well.
Yeah, they can hear. They're all going to join. We might get some questions. We might not. We might have a natter. We might have a talk about different things that are going on. You're in Michigan, right? At the minute.
That's right.
Okay. I think that I know we talked and said, well, let's not plan what we're going to do. Let's just kind of have a general talk about chocolate.
Oh yeah,
I
which is always the best way.
We've both had very interesting careers. We both started in a hot kitchen.
Yeah.
Years ago before Google.
Yeah. About 30. Oh God. About 30. I mean, I'm 53. I stopped counting like 53, 54. I was born in 71, but I started in the kitchen when I was 18,
Okay.
officially. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, similar to me. I'm 50. I'm 54 on Tuesday.
You're 71 as
1971.
71.
So
Good.
yeah, same. Yeah, it's a good year. It's good vintage.
That was a special year. I know
it was a good year. There's lots of good things happening in 1971. ABBA, we were born.
That's right.
I think that you started in a hot kitchen though, didn't you? It wasn't chocolate, was it? What was the beginning?
Not at all. No, it was. I started in a country club. You know, back then when I'm talking about United States, but back in 1989, you know, I'm sure there are still very exclusive country clubs, of course, but back then only doctors, lawyers, high-paying jobs.
Yeah.
So we ran with a really nice food cost, and I was able to, work with Belgian endives, more expensive ingredients, which was good, because otherwise I probably would have never come across, all of these expensive items. And but yeah, I started in hot food, and then
Did you enjoy, like, so you did quite a few years in before chocolate, right?
I did about 12 years. I got actually, I was 25 or 26, and I was executive chef of a country club, and then I worked in a large Hilton hotel. I hated my job, but I was also big into competitions. I was competing is like a drug. It gets you addicted. And my specialty back then was garmanger, was charcuterie,
Yeah.
terrine, pate, galantine.
Guarantee. Yeah.
So yeah,
I know. I
I would
went
love to
exactly.
butcher chickens. I still can butcher a chicken and cut the wings perfectly sliced. But yeah,
I did exactly the same. Like I spent my career, like I joined the army at 15 and a half, 16. So, and kind of did that apprenticeship. And I did some work with chocolate really early on when I was like 16 years old. I worked with two very amazing master chocolatiers. But I spent my whole career like looking, and the army doesn't require chocolatiers. It's like, we'll show you how to do it for a competition, and then you'll never ever touch it again in your career. So I spent my whole career looking at that. But it was garde-manger, fish, hot fish sections, cold larder work, right?
right.
Which I really, really enjoyed. I think the challenge in the kitchen, like, because pastry, they've got the whole dinner service to get ready for the dessert, right? And I always envied that everybody else is running around mad, and pastry's like, they're just doing their own thing. It's nice and calm. They've got all the cool gear, all the good equipment. Larder, you get the check and it's just instant. Like, you just got to make magic almost instantly. So I kind of just wanted to do the pastry bit. I wanted to have a bit more time to make the nice things rather
Yeah,
than,
yeah.
just odd
It,
that.
it's interesting because I remember one of my jobs as a line cook when this happened in California. I must have been like 18 years old, and I used to work in the hot line. I would make it was a French Spanish restaurant, and I remember I would work there from 6 o'clock till 12, 1 at night with the crashing and burning, getting tickets, all this excitement, pa, pa, pa. And I remember I will see the pastry chef in the back, all relaxed,
Chilling out.
doing pastry, doing short dough, pâte sucré,
Yeah.
rolling it, he will make the most amazing, the most incredible. I mean, now it's kind of a basic staple item, but he will make a fruit tart, pastry cream, perfectly sliced fruit, a little glaze,
Yeah.
and I remember I said, I want to be there so bad,
Why
and,
am I
and,
sweating? Why am
and we
I?
will dream about it,
I
and
look, my arms were just
yeah, you
like,
smell like
how
fish and
people are
burns
like,
and
oh,
cuts and everything.
you've got to stop self-harming. It's like, it's not. It's burns from a kitchen. I'm shattered and burnt to pieces.
Yeah,
And the pastry are like, well, I'm just going to write a love heart and some names on a plate. I'm just going to make a nice fruit tart.
yeah,
I looked at that and I envied that and thought, that's really what I want to do. And, going through, I mean, leaving the army, and then going to work in the kind of Michelin star kitchens, it was like, no, you're not doing pastry. Your life is going to be, you're good with fish, you're good with starters, you're good with garde-manger and garnish and all that kind of thing. You're going to do that bit. And I kind of always resented it. But I, I'm glad that I did all that because it's detailed work,
yeah,
and it speeds you up. But we all hate pastry chefs back then.
yeah, yeah. Because they had the glamour, the respect, everything, the easy jobs, right? And we were not
Well,
the
they
peons,
never.
but yeah,
Only about 50% of the dining room has dessert,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's kind of like they're doing half the work. I'm running around all night, and they're doing half the work. So
Came out of
Right.
the
when
cooking.
when did you leave the hot? When did it move to chocolate for you?
You know what? So I must have been like 25 years, 25. I had, I came to United States from Mexico, and I love to get the academic world. I was a student. I kept going to university. Then there was a competition in Detroit, in Lansing, Michigan, for uh, a chocolate competition. And then I went there. I remember I made there were different categories,
Yep.
right? There were one was cakes and torts, plated desserts, and pralines. And then there was like a free one, like a free category. And I entered, I remember I made it sounds funny, but I made a nude angel
Yep.
blowing a kiss with white chocolate. And I sculpted the bad boy. I mean, I sculpted it, and I got nothing. I win nothing. I just win the right to go back home, right? And but that started, that sparkle and interest to compete and do chocolate work. And then I quit my job making, I'm talking, I was 26 years old, so I was probably making $80,000 a year, which is a lot of money,
Yeah.
especially back then. But I had no life. You know, I will get a lot of money from saving food costs and labor costs. I will get a percentage. And I remember in my last job, my managers, you know, they wanted a fine dining restaurant. They wanted, it was a big hotel. And all I wanted was a staff, you know.
Yeah.
I just want people. It's very hard to find people. And then one of my best friends says, you know, they're opening up a culinary school. This guy was a chef. Next, he was actually my competitor, right? He was the executive chef about fine.
Competitions is about networking as well, right?
100%. And you know, he was the program director of this. We started a culinary program at a university back with 7 students. So I quit my job, and then I came and teach for him. He asked me, he's like, can you teach pastry? I was only 26. And I said, you know, I don't know a thing about pastry. I mean, I know a little bit. So, you know, I started just, why not? And 2 years later, unfortunately, he passed away in a motorcycle accident. We were going to a chef's meeting. Then I got his job. I stayed there for 27 years working for a private university. I became a program director. We turned into a multi-million-dollar 2 facilities, but I hated my job. And
too much admin.
And I hope if anybody's listening from that place, I have nothing to say to you, but I'm so glad I left that place 7 years ago. You know what happens? A lot of times you reach success, and you have to be happy for somebody else. You cannot be in this business and act like a diva, you know, or be jealous. And as you said, you know, there's no competitors. It's all about networking.
I've always preferred community over competition, right? Because if we like with Trocky Chat, or you know, the way we run our business, if we're not helping people grow and be inspired, kind of what's the fucking point, right? Because there were people that helped. You know, there were people that helped me. I was very young. I was working for the royal family, and you know, I remember my first few days there thinking, how did this happen? Like, how did I? Because I just didn't think I was the best, and I was told, just remain humble, keep your mouth closed, learn what you need to learn, don't be afraid to pass it on. I had somebody very famous say to me, you know, don't be so busy that you can't pay something back. I'll tell you what happened to me though, Louis, is that when you're younger in the kitchen, you look at the exec chef and you're like, wow, I want that job.
I want to be like him, absolutely.
Yeah, I want to be like him. And then when you get that job, you realize you're so far away from the kitchen, you've lost touch with...
Exactly. Absolutely.
And the problem is, like, I thought, well, I'm the most talented person in the kitchen, and I'm just sat in meetings doing computer work, doing budgets, doing the boring stuff, right?
You're not doing what you wanted to do in the first place, which was cooking, right? It was.
They hired me on my ability to cook.
Yeah.
Then you sit me in an office and you take away the creative side. And like I've wanted to be a chef since I was 8 years old. I,
Yeah, it's about
I-
like the same.
and I still, that's the only thing I want to do. Like if I want to cook in the kitchen at home, I made a pear and almond tart frangipan, but I used a recipe from 1890. I still love doing that.
Yeah,
I like doing that creative. I think what happens in the kitchen is you get that success and then you realize that actually, do you know what, this is not making me happy
yeah,
because I'm not doing the bit that like you fall in love with the beginning. Um,
right, right.
so you
But it's
left that.
never too late to come back and do what I want. I was,
Never.
I was able to find love in the last 7 years. I know we have a question. I want to open up a chocolate shop. What's the basic think I need to know? I'm gonna let James answer this one.
You want to open a chocolate shop? I would get the right now in terms of like economics, a little bit of a risk. I think you need to be well read, well rehearsed. You need to have all your recipes together. There is more to running a shop than just making chocolates.
Right,
It's the other stuff. I think the chocolates is probably only 30% of that job,
right,
right?
right.
Probably only
Yeah,
25% of that job. If half your time is spent making chocolates, the other half is going to be the business, the money, the staff, the wages, the legislation, the law, the legal,
all the legal.
all that
Yeah,
other stuff. And I think as a business owner, you need to know that because you have to sign off on everything. You're responsible, right? Um, Opening a shop, like if you've got everything rehearsed and it's kind of ready and you're making good chocolates and you've built up a kind of following customer base, um, start small and grow, right?
sustainable. I agree with you. I agree.
Yeah.
I know. I know a local place here in the town or city where I live that just opened up a restaurant about 3 years ago, and now she opened up a store and a restaurant, and now she's calling everybody to support her. And I was telling my wife, she. I'm sorry to say sexist here, but she should have just start slow, and. I think to add to what you just said, also be willing to. It's not that glamorous as owning a place. We work hard, It's hard work. People said, I hear this all the time. Oh, if you love what you do, you don't feel like work. I'm sorry, it is work.
We were up at 8 o'clock this morning. We had we
Yeah,
had meetings to do with tech and all the rest of it, and it felt like work.
yeah,
There are days when it feels like work. If I have an opportunity to go and do something and it's creative, like I will probably abandon a whole load of tasks I'm not very good in meetings. Rani is nodding her head. I don't know. I just don't have that capacity to sit down and talk for hours on a subject that I'm not familiar with. Whereas I
absolutely.
could get in here and make a huge amount of stuff or teach a class or, do the butters, do the creative bits that I like doing. I think if you grow, overnight success fails overnight as well, doesn't it? Right. And I think history's shown us that I think if you're going to open a store, even if it's an online store,
Yeah,
slow organic growth is always going to be good, right?
I think
Um,
so. I think so in a manageable way. When that's why every day I try to think that I love what I do, and but your priorities change. For me, I was telling to my wife also, what are we going to do? And people ask me, when are you going to write a book? Why don't you open up a shop? I don't care. It's like you. Not to put you on the spot, but when we talk about doing the showcase shop, we said, let's just have a conversation. And
that was
who
chat.
cares if we have likes? Who cares if we have whatever? We want to share. I wish there was a way to growing up. It was very. I had to learn a lot of things by ruining things. But I mean, a lot of it I learned by ruining things. But the point I want to make, you prioritize what's best. Family is more important than chocolate. Family is more important than getting awards, than traveling.
Number of followers is a
That's so stupid.
I was in a
Numbers don't mean
the
anything. I'd
the
rather
last time
spend
I was
good
worried
amount of
about, yeah.
good quality with somebody, a good quantity of time with a nice person than a long time with somebody who
Strange.
is not a nice person.
I think, yeah, I went through that school, and I had this chat with Chris Harvey recently is, but like, I think, the late 80s, tough kitchens, right?
Yeah,
When you got something wrong, it was that, okay? And that wasn't good. Quite violent, I went through the Michelin star kitchen, so quite violent, right?
I can
And
imagine. Yeah,
every day you didn't know if you're going to have a job tomorrow, right?
yeah,
Because at that level, one mistake, you're out, right? And you was just saying then, you learn by a lot of mistakes. There wasn't the internet that, I had to read books. I had to go and have conversations with chefs, with people much, much older. Some would take the time to explain. Some would say, no, go away politely.
yeah.
Or go and do this, this, and this, and then you come back and talk to me. So they didn't always give away free information, but I think the learning was good. But there was no Sosa products. There was no Easy Temper. There was no, I did a competition piece when I was 16. The reason I ended up in chocolate is my parents lived overseas, and when I joined the army, we used to have block leave, and I couldn't go home because I couldn't get home and back in the 5 days that the army's like, take. So all my friends went off to their families. I stayed in old shop and I had to go and work with these two old guys. And when I say old, they had zero patience, right? And at 16, they were showing me how to temper. They were showing tabling. They were explaining what beta crystals were. I still rely on that information now. And eventually I got it because it was the way that they explained it.
Hmm.
I'm thankful for that. But it was hard learning because they just had zero patience.
Hmm.
Zero. Like when I got it wrong, it just got turned upside down. It's like, do it again. And
Hmm.
I didn't even know what I'd done wrong, do you know? And it's a harsh way to and then kitchens, I think, you'll have gone through this. It's just the same situation where you put a plate on the pass and it gets rejected, but you don't know why. So you've got to grow thick skin,
Yeah,
all of it, right? And you need to learn to get on with the other people that are there. But going back to that thing about running a business, all that stuff I learned as a chef, I started doing this chocolate thing, and I didn't have to start again. I started with a truckload of knowledge. So I knew about accounts, I knew about HR, I knew about legislation, knew about food safety, knew about all
right,
this. All I did is swap the hot kitchen ingredients for chocolate, which I
right,
think is quite
right, right,
straightforward. Like
right, right,
chocolate it will do as you tell it to, right? And if
right.
it goes wrong, it's human error or temperature or both. So I think what I'm doing now is easier. It does feel like work though some days. Definitely.
Yeah, yeah. You become more opinionated, and I think that being at that age, we what a beautiful thing is experience, right?
Mm.
We've done it a few times, and it's just sometimes I look at the mirror and I'm like, man, I all these wrinkles and all of this, but I
Are you
just
enjoying? Well, are you enjoying it? Like I'm enjoying this more. I love working for myself.
yeah, me too, yeah,
I like making money. I love working for myself. I love the freedom that brings. And whether it's a chocolate, because we were going to sign, just before COVID, we were before the first lockdown here, we were 3 days away from signing for a patisserie, right? And
okay,
I'm so glad we didn't. Because it,
yeah,
it it was Rania that said to me, like, you are not going back to big kitchens. You're not doing
yeah,
it.
it's
You
funny,
find
yeah. I
find out
think
what
I
it is
told
that
you
you want to do. Yeah, we
same
have that
thing with my
conversation.
wife. We
It's not
actually,
chocolate
yeah,
that saved me. It was
I
Rania.
had already close to $100,000, much more. I had already a school. I wanted this magnificent school, and I end up building it in my basement, And I feel but I call it academy, and then I want to go by the book. So it is an academy because people come and learn, and um, every single time I have always 5 people. Boom! It's like religiously every 2 months I have people from all over the world. They come to this place, and yeah, I can make more money. I can grow and big, but I pay my taxes. I can go cast my not
Yeah.
cast, kiss my children. They're here, and I'm in my house. And
Life's good,
again,
man.
the priorities is different, and
I think,
I'm happy.
yeah, I think I like early on in your career. you end up like chasing money or chasing promotion. And as you get promoted, you're like, this is not as
Yeah,
good as I thought it was going to be, right?
exactly.
And
Yeah,
then
it's like a pile of plates. You take
yeah,
the plate on the top, you take one, there's another one come up, and then
yeah,
another one.
absolutely.
And you think you have $1 million, you reach, no, because now you want to have $10 million. It's never ending story.
I
And at the end, you don't take shit with
no,
you,
no.
excuse me. You just take the privilege of sharing your life. And somebody was saying that, they're more into vegan cooking, but they're enjoying our conversation
Yeah,
because there's good
same
lessons.
philosophies.
It's all about sharing. For me, sharing is everything. Within reason, but that's,
Started
and I don't
chocolate chat.
consider myself a chocolatier or none of this. I love chocolate. Maybe I'm a chocolatier, but I like to be a professor. I like to be a teacher. I like to be a coach. That's what
I like
that's what gives me
seeing people succeed, right?
exactly. Doesn't
I
it?
love
Yeah,
seeing people
it's
succeed.
great.
And you could say, well, maybe that's a little bit of stroke on my ego, but like all the chefs that have been through my kitchens over the years, some have gone on to have their own Michelin stars, some have gone on to great success, some have left the industry. I like to think that I've been a little bit of the help along the way. I didn't like the screamy, shouty kitchens and, like you see on TV. It isn't like that. I like chefs that kind of cook from the heart, who we get on. Because I think, I'd say every chef that joined my kitchen, they have this phrase that they learn at college. It's like, what do you expect from me in the first 3 months? Well, I just want you to get on with everybody else here. That's it.
Yeah,
I don't want your ideas. I don't want your input. I don't want you to tell me when I was at college. I just want you to get on with everybody here because they've already demonstrated their loyalty to be here,
right,
right?
right.
They get to put dishes on the menu because I trust them, because I know them and they understand the kitchen philosophy. Okay. You've just joined. So once you get on with Bill, who's 70 years old, to, the young lad that's 21 and running pastry, once you can get on with all of them, it's going to be good. Because if you don't get on with them, it's not me that fires you. They make you feel unwelcome and you have to leave.
Right,
Right.
right,
So
right.
I love seeing people, and it was a really easy conversation with that because none of them were prepared for that comment. Like, I just want you to get on with everybody else here. That's really important to me because, firstly, that's team, and secondly, you don't get to stay if you don't get on with everybody else. And I think this is a thing in business, right? We started Chocky Chat by accident because everybody had all these questions and it's like, where do they go? And it's not that I know the answer to everything. I've got people that I can go to if there's something serious, but
Yeah,
where else do they get their questions answered? Where else do they go?
yeah.
They got sign up for a course, sign up for academy. We're on year 3 now of Chocky Chat. There's 173 hour plus of conversation about chocolate, and it was
That's beautiful.
just about tiny little bit of me in my studio trying to help because I
Yeah,
want to see them succeed. Because lots of people have helped me. I started in a hot kitchen, same as you. COVID wasn't kind to our age group anyway. Everybody lost their jobs, right?
right,
And
right.
it was my wife that said to me, you're not going back to. I know you love it. I know you love cooking, but you're not going back to that.
Good,
So
good wife.
so make a decision and choose what it is you want to. And I went, I'm going to do the bit that I did at the beginning, chocolate,
Yeah, yeah,
and no regrets. And love it. I don't
yeah.
love
No,
it.
it's just a fantastic medium. I mean, just the every day. I when I'm by myself, because I'm always under. I don't want to say pressure, but almost every week, either I have to design a mold or I have to design a new chocolate bar, or I do a lot of consulting, and I have to find tranquility in my mind because I always have to get the creative side, and that is good. I think I would have gone crazy without doing chocolate because I don't want to say I'm very neurotic, but I'm anxious.
Yeah.
I don't drink alcohol or do anything stupid, but I mean, alcohol is okay, but I'm not an alcoholic. But I'm always, I love the freedom to be creative, and I always try to just excel. What is the word I'm trying? Do outdo myself. My biggest competitor is me. I want to look
It's
better.
got to go from here into these, right?
Yeah, right. And
And
sometimes it
if there's
doesn't
a
go. And
blockage,
then,
right? If there's a
then,
blockage in
then
there, I kind
don't
of
talk
like,
about blockage. In the last 3 days, I haven't done a single thing. I'm perfecting a bonbon for some customer, and then I say I throw everything. But then today I feel creative. So let's see.
I think
It comes and goes.
I
But
would, well, yeah, totally. You know, because the question I had was, so you've got some very iconic chocolate designs, right?
yeah,
I think if we laid out thousands of pieces, we'd be able to pick yours out,
thank
right?
you. And
Because
that's
they're
that is the biggest compliment what I can hear from
but
you.
they're but they're
But yeah,
they're iconic pieces. So be careful how much you share. You can talk to. We'll chat later about how they come out. The 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 what's the thought process? I I think I know how you're going to answer this because it's probably like 4 a.m. and you wake up and go, got an idea,
it
right?
is not like 4 a.m. It is 4 a.m. in the morning, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it.
So
Yeah,
so where did the ideas like? Because you just said then, so you roll around with ideas for 3 or 4 days
yeah. Always
before.
write them. Always write them. And
Yeah, it goes on
see,
and on and
yeah,
on and on
right,
and on and on
right,
and scrappy
right.
notes, and
That's beautiful.
sometimes I come back to them a year later and go, oh yeah, I was
Yeah,
thinking about that. Or
yeah,
now or you think of something and you're like, no, I'm not sure I know how to do that yet.
right.
So it's just got to sit there for a year,
Correct.
sometimes longer, right? And
Right.
I find this with food in the kitchens where we do fish or seafood, or in 4 o'clock in the morning, I don't know, like everything fell into order, and Rani
Exactly.
is like, why are you down here at 5 a.m.? It's like, oh, I had
Right.
an idea.
Or
Like we went,
sometimes, like I design I remember a chocolate bar that sells in the airport in Turkey. And I needed to work on the design. And then this day I'm in the hotel in the balcony by myself smoking a cigarette, and then I see the bridge. I draw it. And based on that, and that's it. That was simple. That's it, simple.
so the ideas just come to you, not instantly. You have to work on them. You have to.
Hmm.
Okay.
And I try to, um, I one of my most iconic thing. I made this cage with drizzle
Yeah.
chocolate, and that was my last competition. By the way, I got too many gold medals competitions, and if they give a medal every time I lost, I would have more gold medals. You know, but I remember in my last competition, I made this cage, and it was my interpretation of the
Yeah.
mendiant, right?
Yeah.
Sorry if I don't say it right. And the chefs were like, we're not gonna taste that praline because the ganache is going to get dried. And I wanted to slap him in the face because there's no ganache. I even wrote, I love to write in good English, whatever. And I said, this is my humble interpretation of the classical
Yeah.
mendiant, which is nuts and chocolate,
Yeah.
except I did it differently. And they didn't even taste it. No problem. And they say, you didn't teach us any chocolatier techniques. And one of the reasons why I went to this competition, they offered a little space in So Good magazine. They were going to do a little article. To make a long story short, 6 months later, So Good published me, and I became known all over the world because of that,
Yeah.
technique. So I tell my children, don't take no for an answer when you know it's right, because the thing, James,
Yeah.
there was no ganache inside there. It was just chocolate, toasted hazelnuts, and dried
Look,
cranberries.
all
I
all the
play it
same
super safe.
all the same ingredients, just in a different structure.
Exactly.
Okay.
But I'm thinking, how dare, I mean, very few times I'm upset, and I'm like, the guy didn't even know that I have a competition background, right? It was actually one of the judges. And I said, how can you didn't even taste it? And I called my wife.
And you
This
judged
was
it.
in Washington, D.C. I called my wife and my best friend in Mexico City. My wife's like, just don't even pay attention. Just come back home. I'm like, and it was funny. So ever since then, you know, I do what's in my mind. And I also wanted to be an architect, but it was too expensive. I came from a very humble family. And so I just have fun. And, you know, sometimes I do things that work, sometimes they don't. You know, I
Yeah,
just play safely with foods and good ingredients. And yeah.
yeah. I wanted to do interior design.
Did you? Okay, I can
Yeah.
see. Yeah.
And we didn't, you know, there wasn't the budget to do that. So joining the army was the thing, right? Going to college was just wasn't an option, right? So, you know, I joined the army where they teach you to cook, and I'm glad I joined. I'm glad I left. I think it gave me the disciplines, and the resilience to work in kitchens, right?
Yeah.
Don't
His flavors.
flavors.
Yeah.
Rani has got a question
Flavors.
about the flavors.
Where do you come with the ideas from?
Where do the flavor ideas come from?
Okay. You know what? I keep it very simple. I'm glad we talk about that. I work with caramel, raspberry, dulce de leche. I keep it simple. And a lot of it comes, I should not forget, I also spend a lot of time in the Middle East. But a lot of it comes from traveling, you know. I will always say it. I play it very simple with flavors. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not an adventurous eating. I love to eat everywhere. I try to eat everything. It just doesn't have to move, and I'll eat it. I'm not going to eat some foods that move and whatever. But I just try to think. I love the flavor of fruits. I love. I don't even. I will not even consider myself like an avant-garde chef when it comes to flavorings, but yeah.
I think if you've gone through normal kitchens, I don't find flavor difficult. Like I can spray, you know, we spray. I maybe do it the reverse order, so we'll do all the designs and then I'll decide what flavor I want to do.
I've done it like that as well,
Yeah,
James. Exactly, right?
Because I'll do collections, and it's you know, I know doing the web designer at the minute. It's like, well, if you put this on the website, just keep doing those flavors. I'm like, no, I don't want to, because in a couple of months' time there'll be a different fruit, and I'll want to use that, and I'll want to change the collection. And it's I don't find flavor difficult. What do I want to eat? I definitely prefer nut. I love anything roasted nuts, and again, the Middle East connection, nice spices. Mahlab spice I really like. The Turkish type coffee things. If I was going to do a ganache, I like big bold flavors,
Me
right?
too.
Just
Me too. Yeah.
can't say I'm a big fan of like the yuzu and calamansi. I don't know if it works with dark chocolate for me.
Yeah. I don't think. Yeah. We're very
What
much
about
alike, you know.
what about the Mexican background? That's full of flavors and very fresh ingredients. Does that affect you?
Yeah, you're gonna do an avocado ganache. I got asked for that.
No, it's the
It's like, why do you want to put avocado in a ganache?
Mexico
You
has
know.
ingredients.
Okay. I'll tell you. I like to leave the flavors more bold and leave it around. I mean, although I'm Mexican, my wife is more Mexican. See, my background is more Middle Eastern because my father was from Haifa, Palestine, Israel. So
Wait,
yeah,
I'm from
yeah.
Haifa too.
So
Rani is from Haifa.
see, so you know, I'm more into Middle Eastern. I appreciate my,
So you
you
can
know,
see
I love my
that's
milk
all.
chocolate. I'm not gonna. I like dark chocolate. It's great for casting shells, but I love to eat milk. But it's I keep it simple. I was talking with a wonderful student who took my class, and she had an idea about doing a ganache with ricotta. And I said, you know, I gave her some ideas. And I said, why don't you just put a good ricotta, a little bit of honey, maybe a toasted nut, and call it done.
Yeah.
You know, it may not be a ganache, but
Well, but everybody wants. everybody wants shelf life now, don't they? Everybody wants chocolates to last a year.
Yeah, who
It's like,
wants to eat?
fucking, why?
Exactly.
Where is it
Okay,
going that it
dude,
needs to
just
last a
eat
year?
it. Just eat it now. Just
Come on,
keep and freeze. Don't freak
do you want
out. I
one of my
love it.
chocolates, Louis? It's a year
Yeah,
old. No,
yeah.
thank
I
you.
don't want to eat that garbage. Now, just keep it simple. Also, there are a lot of recipes. I tell you this as a teacher. You know, they have like 4 or 5 different type of sugar. Seriously, do you want my students from Peru or Mexico? They need to go to a pharmacy to get all these different types of glucose. Whatever. Keep it simple. I'm very like in
I
that
did the
space.
class
I'm very
yesterday.
Latino, very Mexican. I explode, but just
I
keep
did
it
the class
simple.
yesterday with a young guy in Nicaragua, and
Nicaragua, right?
yeah,
Renato, te quiero mucho. Un
and he's
abrazo.
like,
I'm sorry, Twitter.
he goes, I can't get fresh cream. I'm like, all right, we'll use UHT. Will it make an effect? Well, it doesn't matter because you can't get fresh cream, right? And I've got students dotted all over the world that can't get
Right,
fresh cream, right? So if you can't
right.
get fresh cream, I know there are purists that are like, well, um, I used to have this conversation in kitchens as well, where the chefs would go, fresh is best. It's like, you didn't make the salt, did you? Right? You didn't make the butter. You didn't milk the cow to get the cream, did you? You don't make your own mustard and ketchup and
Yeah,
horseradish. Where do you draw the line? What is fresh is
correct,
best, right?
correct.
So you
Yeah,
don't, and all these weird sugars,
chingón,
because
David.
there's
Yeah,
galactose, all the and then people are using what's the inulin, the fiber. Why?
yeah,
Make nice
yeah.
chocolates and eat them
No,
quick,
and
and then make more.
I think sometimes they make it. Dana, my dear David, I love you. See, James, this is what I'm telling you. This means I'm the happiest man on earth right now. Just about everybody says love to you, love to
Yeah,
me. This is fucking
it's
beautiful. It's
shocky
very
chat. Look,
simple. You
shocky
treat
chat.
people with respect. Everything else, I don't care. I don't care about all the glamour and all the BS. These guys are amazing.
It's been
Look at all the
it's been a long, long, long time since I worried about whether I was popular. It's
good,
never,
good.
and I've had jobs that I've worked for royal families. I've worked for A-list celebrities. I've done some crazy, crazy things.
Sure.
Most important job is being a dad.
Exactly.
And then and so I said, so the chocolate bars and the lip gloss, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love it. Yeah.
That's Sophia, who's age 12, thinking about a product that she wants to get to market, and it's like, okay, well, my job here is to help her make that
That's
happen and do the research,
beautiful, right? She's so
do the
fortunate to
resources.
have a crazy father like you who is so she's very fortunate. Yeah.
But if we it's like we were talking about taste and flavor, and we got friends that visit and their kids won't eat anything, and mine will eat. Well, we cook everything, right? I'm not going to say they'll eat everything. Some things they need to, there's a little bit more encouragement. We've always had this rule. They drew the line at oysters, didn't they? Fresh oysters, they wouldn't. They wouldn't. No, not yet.
Actually did swallow it.
One of them did. The other one,
Try to chew it.
yeah, tried to chew it. I think you learn from encouragement. You learn from trying. You learn, and if we don't teach them, who will? And it's the same with Chocky Chat. Same with students. Like if we don't encourage them, how do they get better? Competitions are great because that's one of the few areas where hopefully one of the judges will come back and talk to you about how you
That's
could have done
it.
better, or
That's it. When you get
um,
feedback, that's another thing. Having judged many competitions from like in a kindergarten to a big name culinary Olympics, you name it. If you don't give feedback, if you just give numbers, it's just a piece of shit.
well,
Yeah, you need to give
it's ego.
feedback. How about
Well,
taking the time and going and critique? I'll tell you, James, my students tell me, please be honest when you critique me. I'm like, you don't know me. Because
yeah,
when I'm gonna critique you, I'm going to butcher the heck out
yes,
of you. And I'm
but
gonna
it'd be
tell you the
both
good
ways,
and the
both
bad.
sides, though, right? This is what
Otherwise,
you
I'm
did wrong. This is what you can
disrespecting
do
you.
better.
Correct. And there's always it's beautiful when you are willing to take, especially if you're asking for advice, right?
Yeah.
Now, sometimes people don't want to hear advice. And
Well, those people
and I,
don't grow.
yeah. So I learned to just keep my mouth shut. It's been difficult. It's been difficult now because many times I talk so much, but I learn every day to control myself, and you know, if they don't ask for the advice, don't give it. And for many years I also wanted recognition. You know, I wish I would have learned my lesson before. I would have less wrinkles in my face. Maybe I had more hair. None of that shit matters. None of that matters.
I worked for a chef called Marco Pierre White, and he would say, just concentrate on being famous in your own kitchen, right?
It's beautiful.
Just
Yeah.
concentrate. Stop worrying about what everybody could. Just be the star in your own kitchen. Just worry about that. If you start worrying about how you're perceived elsewhere, you can't. People either like you or they don't. So just concentrate on where you are and what you're doing, because that's the important thing, right? I think with it, you know, I judged a competition in Horeca in Jordan a couple of years ago, and I had a couple of judges that didn't want to do the feedback, and I did say, like, why are you here? Like, who are you to judge them and give out a gold or a bronze or a silver if you're not going to tell them how they could have got a gold if you only gave them a silver? Like, why did you mark them down? And if you're not going to spend time explaining why, maybe you shouldn't be judging.
Yeah. Right. Or sometimes I will get judges. You know, I'm very few credits away from getting a PhD in culinary education. I have
Wow.
2 master's degree. I spend most of my time in the academic world taking psychology. So I've taken a number of psychology classes. Some of the judges will say that is too brown, that the piece is too red. I mean, come on.
It's fucking food.
You cannot judge with subjective things.
It's for
Now,
eating.
you can tell me there's a fingerprint in the piece.
Or it lacks
the filling is
flavor.
very oily.
Yeah.
But come on, people. It's like, but
Oh,
I'm
oh,
very
no.
intense.
You're going to start the caps on bonbons should only be 1 mil. And I like jokingly with Chocky Chat, we say, right, there's no bonbon police. Nobody's going to knock on the door
I hear you.
and say, like,
Yeah.
let me come and measure, like,
Yeah,
is
me get,
the shell needs
anybody
to
gets a
complement.
caliper in the house to do it? It's so stupid. I told my students, well, the teacher said that a good bonbon, you have to give the eclipse effect. You need to see the flavor of the ganache based on the thickness of the BS. Now, if you are going to bitch and complain to me, I'm sorry if my language, now I'm talking like a chef. If you are going to complain because I'm
I
giving
know.
you a little more chocolate, shame on you.
Louis, the swearing was going to happen at some point. I know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I can only give so. But no, all these rules, I'm so sick and tired of rules, you know. Just do what makes you happy, Papa. You know, do it with love. Last week, I had a class, the United Nations here. I had Canada, Venezuela. Uh, I have 5 different nationalities. We're cooking caramel, just a basic, ordinary recipe for a chewy caramel. It got beautiful, and Sue, one of my students, who happens to be a dentist. By the way, dentists
Why
can
are
be
so many
great.
dentists chocolatiers as well?
I know, but I'll get to that in a minute. But we just say we need to cook. We cook the caramel. This recipe, 119 Celsius. It cut beautifully, and I'm thinking it's because all the love, all the caress, all the. I believe on that shit. And if it's not truth, at least you're doing it with love.
We have a big problem with chefs and the plates that they use, right? And it was Marco that turned round and said they don't eat the fucking plate. The plate comes in, we wash it up. So what's important is the food that they eat, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's the flavour first. I think it's all got a little bit. I mean, things like Instagram and social media is to blame because you get pictures of the stuff that worked, not the stuff that went wrong.
Yeah.
And that's
Right.
yeah, that's
Right.
not a reality of life,
Yeah.
right? I think we could, I've had some humdingers of I sprayed a mold recently, and there's water in the hose. And when I turned them out, I knew they were just all dull because it's just got water splats all over it. Like, oh well, guess what? They're for eating. I
Yes.
took them through.
Right.
The girls ate them. Right, they were gone in one hit. So,
Right.
was it
Right.
bad? Could I sell it? I think that we get a little bit obsessed with those details of, the cap's got to be 1 mil, the shell's got to be this thick. Um, lots and lots of different layers. I think just a lovely milk chocolate shell with a good chocolate ganache is going to win, or a good caramel is going to win hands down. And I've seen it win in competition. Just
And it's true. You know, James, what I do is very unique. And I tell people, and many of my students are here to I tell them, do what I do. I tell them, do the Luis Amado thing on 20% of your items. Have the people come and
yeah,
wow. And then you're gonna sell the brownies, the simple shit, the simple done right. That's the most
yeah.
difficult thing to do.
We'll
Keep
do
it
something
simple.
simple amazingly.
Exactly. When I'm on all these countries eating, I go and eat simple. Now, what I do for living to pay my bill, pay my son university, I do unique flavor chocolates. Yeah, but it doesn't mean that you're gonna do it all the time. I'm just giving you a little bit.
Yeah,
But you wanna run a business? Look at Laderack. They sell the fucking tablets.
yeah,
I
big,
mean,
big
bar,
sheets, right?
a
Break it
bar.
off and yeah,
You break it, you sell by the gram. Salam alaikum, bye. It's
yeah,
beautiful.
it
I
worked.
want
Yeah.
that. That's
I've
great.
seen people. I've seen people with it in Jordan, and they come from the airport, and they've got, like, I'll show you now. The blue paper.
Yeah,
They got a huge sheet of ladder rack, just and walking along and eating it like it's
yeah.
a burrito.
Okay, $20 worth
Because
in there. Yeah,
it's nice
Eh,
chocolate, and
yeah, 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 yeah,
the flavor is it does what it says on the can, right? If it's
yeah,
this flavor, that's what you buy, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
We had a couple of questions, and
yeah.
I can't. I've got to scroll all the way back. I'm going to lose it now. So, are you tired of traveling?
Uh, yes, yes.
You
I
get
am.
to okay. Well, here's the thing. You how much of the countries do you see when you're traveling? Because I get on a plane occasionally, and I get to see a tiny bit, but it's not like you're on holiday where you're touring.
No,
So
no, nothing. I'm never. To be honest, I'm not. No, I'm always. It's the fucking autistic in me that I worry too much. I'm not happy until I'm back in the airplane
yeah,
because I'm not happy till everything is done. My mind is just get the job done, make sure the customer is happy, make sure that the staff is going to be able to reproduce what they want, make sure everything good, and that's my
report
job too.
afterwards, answer
Repeat and
questions
referrals.
afterwards, right?
So no, I mean this December this year, I am going to Dubai. I'm bringing my family. We're going to spend. I would have never dreamed about doing this, but I'm going to Dubai. My wife, my two children, we're flying business class. We're staying in a nice hotel for 7 days. I woke up every day thinking about that because that will be a vacation. I haven't done a vacation in 7 years.
Well, it's you have to have things on the horizon, right?
Yeah,
Um,
right.
yeah, you have to have things on the horizon that you look forward to, and traveling is like I love going to the Middle East as well because the food culture, it's a real eating out food culture, right?
Yeah,
You've been to Jordan,
right,
you've been to
right,
Jordan, you've been to Turkey.
right.
You can afford to eat out. You can go and eat out. It's family orientated. You go out at midnight and everything's open.
Yeah, right, right. 4 o'clock
Because
in the
where
morning,
I live,
especially with Ramadan,
yeah,
right? And it's amazing. I love that. I had a good time, but because I travel for work, my mind is I'm not never been mediocre to I wish I can disconnect, but I can't. I'm always thinking, about my leaving my wife at home. I mean, she's an adult woman but I still worry about I want to see my dog, I want to see my children. It's all sacrifices, like my last trip, it was spring break and I was traveling. Last time Christmas, I was traveling. So, but it's okay though. I mean, I don't want to sound like a martyr. It's like they want me. I don't. And that's the other thing, you know.
We have to go
I
where the
learned to
money
value
is.
my work, and if you want me, it's gonna cost you. I cannot unless I can. I have to go business class, and it's expensive, and I want to be able to sleep well. So, you know, because you gotta love yourself now, right? If I had just done this for a year, but I have a what I'm trying to say, I tell people, you know, I give you premium services at a set price. If you don't want it, no problem. I'd rather stay home, watch Netflix,
Yeah.
you know, or watch whatever.
And you still,
Even
you know, you still have classes in your at
yes,
home. So, do
yes,
you know,
right,
and when you're,
exactly. I make almost the same amount of money if I do a class here.
I do, you know, same thing for me. Like, when we get offers to go and travel, and you know, you say, well, it's this much, but the reality is, I need to shut this down while I'm away.
Right.
So I
Yeah,
can't, you know,
exactly.
you want me to shut down this to come and do this, and not
Right.
the same. So it's
Exactly.
kind of,
No, and
and
it's
then
funny. Yeah, I had like 3 requests from a country. I guess it's big enough. Well, no, I don't want to name the country, but it starts with Q. And no problem. Everybody's like, Chef Luis, we want you. Blah 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 blah. Okay, I send them a proposal. Crickets.
yeah,
No, you know, it's like fine, whatever. Um, but then tomorrow I have another invitation from another country, and yeah, I don't worry too much because what's you know, we can always luckily I have so many way too many pots in the oven in the stove,
yeah.
sort of saying. But
I was going to
yeah,
say, what's next? Because you're going to do PhD, right?
I that's my dream. Yeah, I'm hoping like I want to take a sabbatical year next year and finish my degree and you know I always want to have the PhD next to mine. It's just a personal thing, but
Yeah.
I want to finish it. Also, I'll get a little more money on retirement. And I've been teaching 30 years, and I have to think. I don't know if this is gonna pay my bills forever. Whereas I've been keeping my day job teaching because of the benefits, but because I'm getting tired too. You know, my
Mhm.
see now, James. I don't I love chocolate, but I want to make the life of chocolatiers easier. I want to develop like my stencils. I want to develop my back set. I want I want to love bonbons, but sometimes I need to take a break and I love to develop equipment. So I'm trying to venture into something different.
I think it's like I started doing the colours because I couldn't buy them, just couldn't get any,
See,
and
that's
the ones that I could get weren't great. So I think that, and then I looked at it and said, well, I need to make something that's better than what's in the market, right?
Mhm, mhm.
And then the people that are using it need to understand it a little better. So we started putting what butter types there were on there, and it's kind of grown from there. And all it ever was a solution because I was making them for me, and then people are like, well, can I buy a few?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but I think that like with a lot of these things, when you like companies design equipment, but I kind of always feel like they never actually talk to the chef.
yeah, 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 yeah,
And they
yeah.
never say like,
Right.
well, let's give this to a chef. What would you want
Oh,
from it?
God
Because
forbid they
if
do that. Right.
if
Yeah. Right.
if that had to be redesigned, right,
Yeah.
by a
Right.
chef, that would look
Right.
very different.
Exactly. Exactly.
It would look very. It'd have a little hook so it doesn't fall in the bowl,
Right.
right? Or it would look. It wouldn't have holes in the rivets, right, where
So it
water
doesn't
gets
catch on.
in. So when you tap,
Right.
you get water, right? There's
Exactly.
so many. There's so many.
Yeah.
You know, molds. We got. I've got one in my hand at the minute. We've got these little grips that we put in the molds.
Yeah.
Because I'm riddled with arthritis. So once I've done 3 or 4, 5 molds, I can't hold on to the fucking thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
you know what happens when you let go of it, right?
Right. 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 No. 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 Right.
And then you walk off, and it's like, right, well, it's time for a pot of tea, and I'm going to go and sit in the garden because I don't want to be a chocolatier anymore because I've dropped one mold in the chocolate, and that's the end of the
Correct.
world. And
Right.
uh, um,
Right.
I
Right.
think designing
Right.
designing the equipment and doing that stuff is I think it's an intelligent move.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
Well, having you reaffirm that gives me a lot of happiness because in fact, let me just kind of show you.
The equipment is not out there.
No.
The stuff that we need, like you work with chocolate all day long because of your background. You look at it and go, if I was going to redesign this, I'd do it this way. Right?
Yeah, exactly. For example, well, I keep my cocoa butters warm here. I know, but the problem with this equipment is, look at this is so stupid, right? Yellow, red.
Yeah. Right.
So now I have this, I have this machine that it's off right now, but I can put whatever temperature I want my cocoa butter.
Yeah.
Then I have a hot plate here, and then magic, Papa. Look at this.
Oh.
I'm gonna keep my spatula nice and warm.
Nice. Yeah.
And so this is my next baby that I need to get the NSF, this symbol that is safe to use.
Yeah.
But it's so expensive. But I'm working on this, and then I work on. You can see I'm getting ready for
You got class.
Yeah, class, right? Some ideas, but I'm like trying. I don't know what to show you yet, but the point is that
not your toes, right? I don't want to see the toes.
I just have ideas, and I was lucky that I work with a network of manufacturers, and they can make money if they go with my ideas. They give me a little percentage, and that's it. It's like no difference than if you have money in the market to diversify. But I don't want to do. I'm gonna get tired. There's so many good talent coming up doing beautiful work, but no problem because no. Look, I'm talking to you, James. I do cocoa butters. You have a different cocoa butter. I fucking love you, man. I respect you. This is at the end. There's no competition. There's networking.
Yeah. People have choice, right? And if they know the person behind it. People need, I think, again, it goes back to like pre-COVID. If people feel like they connect, I find that they purchase. And I think that's the same with chocolate. It's like, who's the person behind it? Because I think people are a bit tired of the bigger brands that are anonymous, right? And like with the equipment, I'm doing, these people, right?
Yeah.
So I'm doing, I just confirmed that. So I'm going to go and do some filming with them next week. So I'm going to drive down. We're doing a factory tour. I said that we homeschool the girls, right? So they're coming for a factory tour because I'd like them to see what a factory looks like where they put all this stuff together. The girls have got ideas of businesses that they want to run, and it's my job is to just make sure they get that creative involvement of, this is what other businesses do. That's another example that, I said to them, like, I wanted this a little bit flatter so we could use it as a stirrer.
Okay.
And,
yeah.
And it's kind of one of those. It's like, well, maybe we could put it. So we're going to have a chat about that next week because they're the leading brand when it comes to that, right?
Yeah.
And it started off with the conversation. It's like, well, how do you use it? I don't understand.
One I use.
Right?
I think it's the same.
So, Sophia got sent her own.
Whoa, nice.
I want one that's got Chocky Chat written on it.
There
so I'm
you
going to
go.
do that shortly. Sophia got sent her own, and I was like, well, where's my one? Am I invisible?
Right. It was for my birthday.
It's for your
Beautiful.
birthday.
They're smart. They know your father's sweet spot. They know how to get it too. So
Yeah,
this company,
Just
they know what they're doing.
A little bit of Ribena.
Right. I'm really simple. I'm so easy to please. I like cookies.
That's good.
And Ribena and shisha.
Nice. I love shisha. Nice to meet you, Sophia. Tell your dad to bring you to Michigan. You're all invited.
Mexico in the summer.
Wonderful. Great. I'll give you some tips. What part of Mexico are you going?
Near where you are.
Okay. Okay. So
we're coming to visit.
Oh yeah, come. Yeah. Well,
they heard, Louis. They heard the message.
Great.
When you said, yeah, my house is your house. Come to Mexico.
Absolutely.
Planning
Absolutely.
the
Absolutely. Yeah. I show you everybody who comes here. I give it. Except last week, my group.
Rania's got family in Michigan.
Michigan. Yeah.
I say that again.
Rania has family in Michigan?
The
My
my
uncles and my cousins.
okay. Perfect. So there you go. Come and visit me in Michigan
Oh,
because
they have
um,
plenty of.
I mean, I'm about 2 hours from Chicago, and the same with everybody. Everybody who's joining us here, you
They
come and
don't do
visit me
chocolate.
anytime.
They eat chocolate, but they do car parks parts.
Car park.
Yeah, they have a factory of car park parts.
Okay,
Small
okay,
world, right?
Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful.
I was going to ask you about the equipment. Oh, so the molds you design, are they your ideas? Is that what, like, well, that's what I'd like to do next with Grayer?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. That's yeah. I now do for different companies, but I started with, it's funny because I went to many companies and I said my ideas, and in Mexico we say they bought me, right? They rejected me. And then I found this company in Greyas, and I developed like close to 40 different designs, and some sell very good, some no, some sell very very well, and I learned keep it simple. The less, the better. And I learned a lot about designing molds and and keeping up. Make sure you can put your hands. I mean, there are molds like. I'm sorry, I'm gonna pick on this one. How am I supposed to hold this? Look.
Okay.
It's like, and I got small hands. It's like,
One, wait,
My palm mold.
no. We've got some, and it's like the girl. You got cap, but you can't put your hands over the side of it, right? I need hands that are this big.
yeah,
These. These.
You know this brand.
yeah,
You-
yeah,
when that's full, and you go,
yeah, right,
you only need a bit of chocolate on your hands, don't you? And and when
right,
it hits the foot, the chocolate goes everywhere.
right,
On your feet.
yeah,
So yeah, it's all in the design. I think if they put it into the hands of chefs who design it, things will get better. But like Chocky Chat, like the teaching, you're trying to help people get better. And sometimes that's the knowledge, sometimes that's the equipment, sometimes that's the inspiration, right? Just how do I get better at doing what I'm doing?
right.
And we have social media now, so
Yeah.
it's a bit easier. I think when we started, you had to write a letter to a chef, and it got ignored, didn't it?
Right,
And then you
right.
had to, you had to go knock on a door and what's next for you then? Doing the PhD and then
I am. I definitely. I want to work on a book. I want to work. I want to work on a book. As you can see by my body language, I don't. I'm more being. People around me want me to do it.
uh,
I don't know if it'll happen or not,
do you
but
think you've got to the? Do you think like so? Somebody said to me you should write a book, and my answer was I don't think we've got to the good stuff yet.
yeah, I just don't know why. I'm excited, but I guess that's it. I mean, for me, then I don't even know what I'm doing this fucking weekend, so I don't know. I'm just like, the book is good idea, but I try to enjoy every because if I look at
Everyone's
my
got a
schedule,
question.
I Brazil, Kuwait, Italy, France, but it's like, oh God.
I don't know what you're doing
So
next. You got a question?
yeah,
What's your question?
Louis, are you Palestinian?
I I I am. My background is Palestinian, my dear. Yes, my darling. Yes. I don't speak the language. I consider myself more Mexican than anything, but yeah, I love your hair.
You got it from me, didn't you?
Yeah,
Let
right.
me catch Louis because he probably I don't know if you got a clash starting shortly, haven't you?
We'd love to see you in Mexico, not America.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Or both?
No, but
So pure Palestinian.
They're I don't know whether we'll get. I'll have a chat with you about that.
absolutely, we can catch up later. Of
Yeah, we
course,
can catch up. We can catch up later
this
on
has
that.
been great. I enjoy
Have
it.
you got to go? Have you got a class or what have you got happening today?
I have a. Actually, next weekend, if anybody wants to join my class, here's me doing the commercial, but I have another online class from April 4th to April 6th. So usually when I do like three classes per year, and like 3 days before the class is prepping, mise en place, you know, because that's the thing. I teach. People say that I give too much, but somehow I managed to teach like 25 different designs. I don't know how. Sometimes people tell me, you know, we
Well,
took a class from this
because
chef.
it's because you're excited about sharing.
Yeah, and you just fucking mise en place. You organize everything.
Yeah.
You just do it timely. You know, you bullshit less, teach more, and you can. Time is money, right? Every minute, 60 seconds. Time is money. I tell my people. I mean, uh, sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Sense of urgency
I think you learned that early on in kitchens, right?
on the hot food
Yeah, yeah,
kitchen, man. Yeah,
yeah. Because like if
that was
you're,
back
if
in.
you go to the fridge twice, you get the chef saying, "I don't pay you to
No,
walk,
right,
but to pay you to work," right? So,
correct,
yeah,
right.
you go to the fridge
You
once and you
only go
carry.
there once, right?
Yeah,
If you see the chef leaving the hot station, you're in trouble.
yeah,
So no, you get
absolutely right. So I
right.
think
Or if you go on one trip, you bring more than one ingredient, right? So you know.
well, then everybody else gives you their list, right? So,
See,
yeah. um,
I love it, man.
yeah, I
Yeah,
miss those days.
yeah.
Um, what were we saying? Yeah, I like sense of urgency in teaching, and I have it. I have one student at a time, and it's sometimes like I have a plan of what we're going to do, but sometimes they're like they don't want to do airbrushing and they don't want to do this bit, or they don't have an airbrush and a compressor, so they don't really want to learn that element of it. And we end up doing designs, and then they'll ask, "Oh, how is this done?" And it's like, "Well, grab a mold and we'll make it, right?" Or because I can teach here and now. And sometimes it's about it being a little bit more bespoke, right? Just,
Hmm.
one recently wanted to know more about the legislation and the labeling and the kind of business side of it, not so
Hmm.
much
Hmm.
those elements. Everyone. So, but go. You got a class next week. You go for a shout out, mate. I don't mind. Promote all the way. You've got a class next week. Is that
Thank you.
online?
Yeah, it is what I do. It is 24 hours. It's Friday, Saturday, and
Okay.
Sunday, and I give people the ability to watch the class later or participate live. I tell them all you need is pen and paper, and the serious desire to learn. I
You go.
take everything, and I'm glad that I'm talking about this because you know I look at other schools and they have like the like amateur classes, semi-professional, professional, and all this guru type of bullshit that to me makes no sense. The two talk amateur, three talk professional. Really, I've been teaching people all over the world for more than 30
Yeah.
years. I'm telling you, one of my best students happened to be accountants, dentists, uh,
Doctors. I've
doctors.
got a judge. I've got a student for a
Yeah,
judge.
yeah, they are just like, oh my god, I love this because they don't nothing against our people, but when I say our people, I'm talking about restaurant season workers. But don't judge the book by its cover, right? I mean, it's so I take anybody because usually in my classes, I'm talking about my semi-private classes. I do 5 people because my basement, Papa, is very small.
Yeah.
So I charge a little bit more, but I give more time. People come with my wife cooks lunch, multiple Mexican deals. We bring coffee, we relax. And there's usually a student with limited experience, but every time the other students help that person. And like we were talking
Yeah.
before, there's a beautiful sense of community. And I've been so fucking lucky because only one time I've had probably 300 students or more. Only one bad experience with one. Other than that, everybody is so happy. We finish class on Sunday at 5 o'clock, but they don't leave my house till 8 sometimes. Because they're either buying things or we're drinking wine or
there
we
are
stay for dinner. It's
there are people here. So we have it as a hands-on class, and it's a full day. And I
sure.
say it's like 8 to 9 hours. It always runs over, always. We always do so much more than I had planned. Rania will cook. all the people that have been here for the class, they're like, well, I'm going to come back just for the food. It's like, all right, don't worry about what I thought, you know. And I'm happy when the table is just, you know, creaking and it's just full of food. That's my. I don't want fast cars, gold. What I like the fridge full of food. That's how I measure life, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And we've never had any, it's the same. You know, we've been sat round till midnight. You know, start at 9 o'clock in the morning, finished at 6, 7, done a crack out, and then continue talking till midnight. And
that's fucking beautiful, man.
somebody said to me, like, oh, you know, you're giving away too much. It's like, well, no, because I still talk to them afterwards as well.
See?
Because I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
expect them to remember everything we did in that day, right?
Right.
And it's interesting. You used a word there, and it's you're selling an experience.
Exactly.
It's not a class. They're not going to remember every single thing from that day, right? There'll be a snippet, and there'll be people that didn't understand it. I always say that, like my students are, you know, when you go to a university lecture, and everybody leaves. And then there's 2 or 3 that go down to the front because they just need something answering again. That's my students. That is those people. It's those people that
that is beautiful.
didn't quite understand.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's, you know, the doctors, the dentists. The one that's a judge, and I was like, "What's the JD bit on your name?" He's like, "I'm a judge." I'm like, "What?" As in, like, a judge.
You,
I was
yeah,
like,
judge.
as in, like, you. And he's in the US as well. And I was like, "What? Like, sentence people to death?" And
Yeah.
he went, "Not me personally, but yeah." Do you know?
Yeah,
Can't
when they have a JD, jurisdictional
Yeah.
degree or
And I
judicial
said,
degree.
so why chocolate? And he said, you know, I'm surrounded by very serious people all day long. And eventually, and he said, and not nice people. So I don't play instruments. I don't like fishing. I like food. Started making cookies, discovered these shiny chocolates, and here we are, right?
See,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's actually escape. And
Right.
it's the experience of sitting quietly and making something that's edible.
Yeah. No, it's we are so privileged, right? I had also one doctor. How you call the ones that put you anesthesiologist,
Yeah.
anesthesiast. He's just like I look at him. I mean, I have a tremendous amount of respect for most doctors, regardless of their specialty, dentists as well. But even right now, I still can't believe that a doctor wants to learn our trade, not to take away from him, but it's just it was just incredible.
We've had incredible people at
Yeah,
the house, and we kind of know a little bit about them before they
see,
get
right,
here. And
which
they,
is good. Yeah,
they get there and then say, you know, what they do, and they're financial controllers, or they're this, or they're
yeah,
a doctor. Or we had a cardiologist here.
see, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's just mind
I'm so glad. I'm so happy to
blowing.
know that I'm learning that. Obviously, I'm not the only one in the same situation. But so your business is also in your house.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay.
Well, I have a different workshop where we make these. I bring these here because I send all the packages from here.
I see. But when you do the one-on-one, I was looking at your
Yeah,
website. That's okay.
yeah, in here.
Okay.
It's tiny. It's enough for one. We can get everything done. I will make all the chocolates I make. I did in here. You know, we've got plans to expand. The problem is I don't want to come downstairs in the morning and drive to work
Yeah. Right.
because that's a job, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Right.
can, you know, I can come into here at 10, 11 at night, midnight, whatever. If I'm feeling creative, I can just do stuff, right? And
Right.
it's my own perfect man cave,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
it's filled with some quite cool stuff. So
I hear you.
I'm
I
lucky and
can
I'm privileged.
no, I totally understand because I teach at the university Monday through Thursday. Then I come home at 2 o'clock. But I cook always. I cook from 2 to 4. We eat together. Then I start my second job and my passion. Then I come to my studio and I'm here 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And then, but I'm lucky to have May, June, and July, and August, I don't do anything at the university. So that's when I make most of my money, most of my work.
Yeah.
And now I'm talking money and stuff, but it's my job, right? But so I relate to do that, and but yeah, I can talk
I
for
know.
you for hours.
I know.
I'm selling inviting me. We're gonna
We
have a
can
good party
we
later.
can have another chat. Somebody asked a question. Are you all right for time though, Louis? Aren't you?
Yeah, I have to go somewhere at 6 o'clock, but I can be a little late. It's like 5:50 right
I
now.
love being late for stuff.
It's the story of my life, man.
Especially flights, right?
Yes.
It was how can I be? Somebody said how can I be more efficient? Was it? Can I? Oh God, let's scroll all the way back. It was a question about do you have so this is Gina, she's in the other thing on Chocky Chat is I have to remember where everybody's from, right? So Surfer Leg Chocolates is Gina, she's in New Zealand, right? Do you both have any tips for someone struggling with multitasking in the kitchen? Good question. Don't
I'll let you
multitask.
go first.
Don't do one job, do it amazingly. You can have multiple things measured and weighed up, but you can only do one thing at a time.
Yeah, you said it.
You're either spraying molds and you clean down and you start the next task, right? But if you're trying to spray molds, run a melanger and shell, you're going to get in a mess.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's and you know, one good friend of mine said, "Chocolate is in control of you. Chocolate is always in control." And I respectfully disagree with him. And I told him, I said, no, you're in control with chocolate. However, when dealing with chocolate, you have to be smart enough and respectful enough of chocolate's times and be organized, though. That's the thing. You got to be
We
for
instruct.
more
So we tell
structure.
chocolate what we want it to do,
Yeah.
right? So we will temper it. So we've told it to temper using
Yeah.
temperature. So it will do what we've instructed it to do. If it doesn't do that, it's because of human error, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to
Yeah.
be, it'll do as it's told. I don't think chocolate's in. I mean, when the humidity goes up, chocolate is in charge, right? But you know what? Other than that, it will do as predicted. It will always behave the way you've instructed it to, I think.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think the challenge of multitasking is it's not like the hot kitchen where you can have multiple things
No,
burning and going at the
you
same
can't.
time. It's one task, clean down, start the next one. It's very methodical, right?
Very methodical. Absolutely. You can't. I have people that want to do the class the same day, and I mean, like do the production on one day. You're rushing it. You just gotta do it. And the other thing is like rather than multitasking, just respect the times and I also tell everybody, okay, you want to do chocolate work, great. And I fight with people sometimes. I say, you put a chef jacket on you. Yeah. Well, do me a favor. There should be like a checklist. Before you put a chef jacket, you need to understand what temperature water boils, what temperature you poach fruit, what temperature you deep fry.
The
You need to
basics, right?
understand, at least 20 things. What about relative equilibrium, humidity, I cannot say this word always, but you need to understand, fat migration,
Yeah.
fat bloom, fat soon. Once understand all this, at
Cooling.
least
Time from shelling and the time of crystallization is, well, it goes dull, then it starts to crystallize, but depending on the temperature, we drop it down, it will shrink. If we leave it, it will just sit there. The basic, I went to work for the Royal Family. It was all basics, right? And I say this to chefs. So over the years, I've said the same thing over and over and over, right?
yes,
Learn to fry an egg properly. Make a sandwich. The biggest seller in any restaurant is going to be a burger, right? Or a
right,
soup, right? None of it's the complicated stuff is not what earns you the money. It's doing the basics without even thinking about it, right? So chopping, frying, grilling, stewing, boiling, poaching, right? all those things done in the right order, in the right technique, will produce an amazing product at the end, right? I think chocolate's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you need to go shortly, mate?
Unfortunately.
Yes, mate.
Unfortunately, I can. Whenever you want, I enjoy it. You know, for me, it's a little bit of a dream come true. I remember when if you're in this business and you don't know who James is and you know about his product, something's wrong. Now, one
Thank
time
you.
I was when I first watched your Instagram.
Yeah.
I remember you were doing. I don't remember exactly, but it was you were talking about you did beautiful explanation of crystallization of cocoa butters. You were talking with this. I'll find your reel and send it to you. This black cocoa butter,
Yeah.
and you saw the difference. What were you just talking about it? And I'm like, man, this he explained this very well. And here I am talking to you. It is an honor, and I want to be old and be your friend.
I'm chuffed to call you a friend. I really am. I know we chat offline. Some of the messages. I played one of the messages in the car.
Good.
And the girls, we're driving down the road. The corners are just absolutely crying. It's a bit about the toes, right?
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna let you go. We'll have a catch up again soon. When you do a live at some point, I'll join you. All right.
Absolutely, my dear. That will be an honor. And listen, everyone loves you, and it was a pleasure for me to share the stage with you. And I want to give everyone who's watching this interview, the sky's the limit, my beautiful people. God bless every minute of your life.
We're here to help, right?
A minimum.
We're here to help. I can't solve everybody's issue every day with chocolate, but I'm here to help, and that's why we started, right?
You're amazing, Chef.
About
Yeah,
sharing information.
I love it in your family, and thank you for inviting me to this. It's just
absolute
amazing.
pleasure.
Thank you,
Absolute
Papa.
pleasure, Lou. I will. I'll catch up with you soon. I'm going to send you. I'll do a shout out for your classes for next week.
Thank you,
Right. So
Papa.
send me the details
Thank
on
you.
that. So if anybody wants to
I
do it,
love.
Randy's going to come and say. I'll give you a call over the weekend. All right.
It was a
But
pleasure to
you
see
bet.
you.
Please do that. Bye bye, my dear. We'll catch up
Bye-bye.
later.
We'll
Thank
definitely
you.
do.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
Louis.
Cheers.
Bye bye,
Bye-bye.
Papa.
Right. I'm going to let Louis exit. Right. Louis Amado, everybody. He's a good guy, and he's a really nice guy. I have some absolute. We've had some epic conversations with him. Just lovely to meet down to earth people with zero ego, right? Absolutely lovely chat. I'm exhausted now. It's 10 o'clock. That's an hour and a half. My voice has gone, and I nearly ran out of Ribena.
I didn't know that he's originally from Palestine. That's nice
You
to
know,
know.
we'll have a chat. We're going to go and visit anyway, aren't we?
Yeah,
The
definitely.
girls think we're flying to Mexico next week, but
Palestine or visit Mexico?
Mexico, Palestine, or Michigan. When it's a bit warmer in Michigan, I think. I'm going to get going. Thank you for joining me tonight on Chalky Chat. We've experienced a few website issues, so my apologies. We are working through those. I think it's always a challenge when you've got a new website. We moved from .co.uk to .com. Different platform, different shipping platform. There are little tinkering things that we need to do. So if you do spot something, by all means, just ping me a message, or we can go offline. So what else have we got to say?
We can do the orders now until the developer fix the problem.
Yeah, it's going to be a couple of days. There's a couple of issues on shipping that we can.
You still can place your order directly with us if there is.
If it's urgent, send me an email of your order, and then we'll go back there.
On the website, they already have fixed some.
Okay, I've seen some orders come through tonight. So.
Yeah, there's the problem's been already fixed. However, if you're trying to place an order and you find any kind of difficulties, do not hesitate to contact us, and we will be able to place your order directly with us, and we can send you the invoice separately through our invoicing as well.
Perfect. Yeah, we can deal with it. Send me a message. I'm going to say thank you for Louis tonight. I think that was a lovely chat. He's a nice guy. I talked for him for hours. Right. proper chef, and it's nice that we went. You know, we both started through that kind of early school and hot kitchen,
You
and
both are so
I think
sincere.
it's yeah, very similar backgrounds in terms of what we've done over the years. So Chucky Chat's a thing, right? So
Palestinians, and he's
I think
Palestinian.
Chucky Chat's a thing, right? So be nice to people, especially those closest to you, right? Have a lovely evening. I will post this on. See you next week, Chucky Chat.